Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. What happened during World War II could also happen today. We will do everything to prevent such events from happening again. That's why we are strengthening the Polish army. The Minister of Defence, Mariusz Błaszczak, said during ceremonies marking the 79th anniversary of the last mass execution in Pomieczówek, where 281 Poles lost their lives.
Miejsce to, drodzy państwo.
This place, ladies and gentlemen, became the site of mass crimes. The first one on May 31st, 1943, and the last one 79 years ago. These mass executions littered the grounds of Fort 3 in Pomieczówek with remains, blood, and the spirit of suffering. They also scattered the graves of those who perished here all over northern Mazovia. We are here today, fellow citizens, to show that we remember and are aware that the nation is not only those who live within the borders of today's free, independent Poland, but it is also those who are beyond the borders, those who were here before us, and those who will come after us.
Że pamiętamy i mamy świadomość. Zrobimy wszystko, żeby nie powtórzyły się takie.
We will do everything so that such incidents do not happen again, and we will do everything by strengthening the Polish army, by establishing new units, by equipping the Polish army with modern weapons. And although there are those who say that there are too many of these weapons and question why so many troops, we know perfectly well that the army is needed to defend our country, and in the situation in which we live today, to deter an aggressor. I want to assure you that we will not deviate from this path, that if we get to continue our mission after the fall season, the Polish army will certainly be even more numerous and will be equipped with even more modern weapons, because everything that happened during World War II, after all, can also happen today.
Wojsko polskie będzie jeszcze liczniejsze.
Day 522 of the Russian aggression against Ukraine. On Sunday night and early Monday morning, alarms sounded in Ukraine warning of Russian missile attacks. Civilian deaths were reported after strikes in Kryvyi Rih and Kherson. Shelling also occurred in the Russian-controlled Donetsk and was blamed on Ukraine.
In the Russian missile attack on the southern Ukrainian city of Kryvyi Rih, 43 people were wounded and at least 4 people killed, including a 10-year-old girl and her mother. Smoke billowed from a gaping hole smashed in the side of a 9-story residential building, and another 4-story building was almost leveled. A woman was shocked after 2 missiles flew over her house. It wasn't until she received a call from her friend to come to help that she realized what had happened. I only heard "help me," so we jumped into our car and drove here. What we saw was pure horror committed by the Russian. I don't want to say a word more. They hit a residential building, and her apartment is just next to it, so everything in their flat was ruined. She survived and is alive, thank God.
І ми зрозуміли, що ми пригнули в машину, сюди приїхали. Ну, а тут жах.
One man had evacuated from Kherson, only to become displaced once more. I don't know how I'll fix the windows. I'm an internally displaced person from Kherson region, and I came here, and the same things are starting to happen. The first explosion was somewhere far away. There was a second one, then a whistle. Finally, ba-bam, and the explosion wave caused all of this. Several people were buried under the rubble, and some are still hoping to find their loved ones. There are still people under the rubble. Some residents told us that they can't reach their relatives, but the exact number we'll only know once the rubble will be fully cleared. Early in the morning, 1 person was killed and 4 wounded in a Russian rocket attack on the southern city of Kherson. The regional administration identified the victim as a 60-year-old city worker, saying that people were doing their work, making the city cozy and comfortable when they came under fire. Meanwhile, in the city of Donetsk, 2 people had been killed and 4 injured in a shelling, said the Russian-installed head of Ukraine's Donetsk. The attack was blamed on Ukraine. In a statement posted on Telegram, Denis Pushilin said that the casualties had occurred when Ukrainian shells hit a civilian bus. I went outside and saw this. Opposite the house, behind the funeral home across the street, something was burning. I ran there and saw a burning bus and a car that was starting to burn. There was nobody in the car, and as far as I could see, nobody in the bus. Someone could have been there at that moment, but I did not see anybody. The city of Donetsk has been under Russian control since 2014, but Ukrainian troops continue to hold positions on its outskirts, and the city regularly comes under artillery fire.
A suicide bomber detonated a bomb during an Islamic fundamentalist party congress in northwestern Pakistan. At least 45 people were killed and more than 100 others were wounded. Nasser Mahmoud-Sati, an official of the Regional Police Office of the Malakand Division, told media that the attack took place when a convention of political workers of the Jamiat Ulema-e Islam Farsi, JUIF, was being held near Shandemor on the Mundakar road of Baijour. Among the victims was Mauluna Ziala Yan, a prominent leader of the JUIF party. Survivors of the tragedy have expressed their anger and confusion, with some hoping their loved ones may still be found among the wreckage.
I don't know what the cause was, but there was a sudden blast, and within moments, dozens of people were lying dead and injured on the ground.
His name is Sharif Ullah, and he is 11 years old. I'm so worried about his health, and I'm praying he'll get well.
When we reached the convention and heard speeches being delivered from the stage, we were standing to welcome our leaders when suddenly a blast occurred, and then we were not aware of ourselves.
According to the police, it was a bomb blast, and the bomb disposal squad is working to find out whether it was conducted with a planted device or it was a suicide attack. Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif condemned the attack and expressed grief over the loss of life. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the blast. As Japan enjoys a post-pandemic resurgence in tourism from around the globe, Seibu Railway is using automated translation to help visitors navigate one of Tokyo's most baffling transport hubs. The device allows customers and a station attendant to converse while the semi-transparent display spells out the words in Japanese and one of 11 other languages, including English, French, Mandarin and Spanish.
Google Translate isn't always available because you don't always have Wi-Fi everywhere you go. So places like this, it's also much faster than pulling up your phone, typing everything out, and sort of showing it, and there's misunderstanding. Having it like this, clear on the screen, it's really nice.
The railway installed the translation window this month at the Seibu Shinjuku station, the terminus of one of its central Tokyo lines that serves around 135,000 passengers a day, for a 3-month trial before considering a wider rollout. The device was also tested at Osaka's Kansai International Airport earlier this year.
It might sound a bit weird, but you feel safe immediately because there is a human on the other side. So you take your time to explain what you need, and you will know that they will understand what you need.
Seibu Railway says the translation device is intended to help customers with more complex requests, like directions or information about the local area. Traditional ticket machines and manned ticket windows are still available. More than 2 million visitors arrived in Japan last month, the most since the pandemic kicked off in 2019, and travellers from the United States and Europe exceeded pre-outbreak levels, as the weak yen makes the trip the cheapest in decades. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.